This episode of Midco Sports Magazine is presented by Shields and Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Hello and welcome to the show. The sun is out and we've got the bases loaded in this month's edition of Midco Sports Magazine. Baseball stories about the boys and a girl of summer. We'll go to Madison, South Dakota and catch up with a catcher who just finished up his first year of college baseball at the age of 42. And from the center of America to Central America, we'll take you to Nicaragua to see how a group from Flandreau, South Dakota is giving kids the equipment and the encouragement to play the game. But we start with a very gifted girl in Moorhead, Minnesota. Her name is Sam, and she can more than hold her own alongside the boys on her high school baseball team. Here's Greg Ankers with her story.
Sam Haiby is a baseball player, just like any in this group that makes up the roster for the Moorhead Junior Varsity Baseball Squad. And while Sam's talents on the diamond do stand out, there's much more than just skill and athleticism that make you take notice of this sophomore sensation.
One of our last games, she was on the mound and throwing a pretty good game, and I think it was about the fourth or fifth inning, she started to struggle a little bit, left a few pitches up and they started hitting them. Took her out of the game, and I told the coach that we had a sub coming into the game, and I mentioned that this player is going in for her, and he kind of looked at me and said her. He didn't know it was a girl on the mound.
I remember there was one time where we were playing in a tournament and Sammy had a big clutch hit, and the coach came up to us after the game and said, during our team meeting, I'm going to tell that a girl had that big clutch hit, and I remember we were all kind of proud of that. I don't know, it was just a good feeling knowing that a girl beat them, and we all thought it was great.
Yes, Sam is proving that the game of baseball isn't just for the boys. She's not alone, but she's close. Of the roughly 500,000 high school baseball players in the U.S., less than 1/4% are female. But for Sam, this is the only game involving a diamond she's ever known.
I've always liked it. I was never introduced to softball. I've watched it a little bit. It didn't really interest me that much. So I kept playing baseball and just liked it. My dad started me with a Big Bopper, and then I worked my way up with Babe Ruth, and then I've been fortunate enough to have good coaches so that helped me enjoy the baseball more. And then I just kept playing, and I liked it enough to keep going, so here I am now.
It's not just that Sam happens to play junior varsity baseball. The caliber of player she is also may surprise you. She's a regular pitcher and right fielder, and on this day, she strapped on the equipment and crouched behind home plate as a catcher.
I haven't caught since like 12 or 13, and our coach said we needed one, so I was like, what the heck, might as well do it. And it was pretty fun. I think I did all right for not having done it in a long time.
It's one of those positions that you're not going to throw somebody back there who is going to be uncomfortable with it, who may not have good success back there doing it. It speaks to her athleticism. Like she had mentioned, she's a pitcher, she's an outfielder, but she's also an athlete. So it was one of those things where, you know what, we need a catcher. Are you comfortable doing it? And it didn't surprise me at all that she said absolutely she'd go back there, and she did well. She kind of took it in stride, and she has a good arm back there behind the plate, and she didn't look out of place one bit.
Nothing about Sam's presence on the ball field makes her seem out of place. And through years of playing with the guys, she's done more than just earn the respect of her teammates.
I don't think there's really a different element. I mean, like I said, she's always been, we've grown up playing together, so she's just one of us. I mean, treat her like she's just a normal person. Like, just because she's a girl doesn't mean we treat her different, I mean, she plays with us, she succeeds, she does well, she knows the game. I mean, it's just no different.
The guys treated her kind of the same way they treated everybody. It was she's part of the team. It wasn't male versus female or anything like that. There really wasn't any dynamic. She was part of the team. She anything good that would happen, she'd get a high five. Anything that might have seen some controversy or anything, she would kind of the same thing. She would see that same constructive criticism from the coaches and the teammates. So I mean, there was nothing different about it.
I've played with all these guys since we were little, And then around here, like the Fargo teams, they all know who I am, and we've played against them a bunch. So I haven't been really, nothing's changed there.
They depend on their sophomore, Sam Haiby. I mean, I've watched her last night. It looks like a Division I type player.
Baseball may be the more surprising sport Sam takes part in, but it's not the only one she excels at. She's been starting on the varsity basketball squad at Moorhead High since 8th grade and is getting looks from several Division I institutions to continue playing hoops at the collegiate level. But while her long-term future may revolve a larger orange ball, there's still work to be done with the smaller white ball in her hand.
Right now, I don't know, I really like baseball, and I think I want to keep playing it and try to get to that varsity level.
I think she could go play varsity. I honestly do. She's good enough. She has a talent. She's athletic. I mean, she came all the way. Why not one more level?
I mean, she's definitely a good role model for the young girls who want to come up and just continue doing what they enjoy. And I think that's why, like I mentioned earlier, that's why Sam's still here. She enjoys playing the game. She belongs here. She's talented enough to pitch at this level. I'd be surprised if she wasn't playing varsity as a pitcher, you know, coming up here in the next year or two.
So take notice, guys. You'll probably be facing a lot more of Sam Haiby's heat from the mound when next season rolls around again. Good luck.
And joined now by Greg Ankers, and great story, and obviously very talented baseball player, but the future, you touched on it in the story, the future for her is probably going to be in another sport, right?
Yeah, she really excels at the sport of basketball, averaging more than 20 points a game, and she's just going into her junior year next fall, and she's gaining a lot of interest as well. She's gotten looks from North Dakota State, South Dakota State, the University of Minnesota, and the North Carolina Tar Heels are interested in her as well.
All right, Greg Ankers. Well, up next, it's not a midlife crisis, just a desire that got delayed by a couple of decades. The story on this 42-year-old freshman when we come back.
Midco Sports Magazine on Midco Sports Network is presented by Shields and Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Welcome back to Midco Sports Magazine. Our next story on this Bases Loaded edition is about a college baseball player who's been around the bases a few times. In fact, he's more than twice the age of any other player on his team at Dakota State University. Here's David Brown.
Hall of Fame baseball player Bob Lemon once said, "Baseball was made for kids, and only grown-ups screw it up." But if a grown-up was actually teammates with the kids, well, then you get Vermillion, South Dakota resident Jay Thaler.
Baseball is one of his passions, but this is probably out of his comfort zone.
I was expecting somebody to tell me I was really crazy and I didn't understand what I was doing, but everything was positive and everybody said, if you have a shot, go for it.
Jay Thaler just completed his freshman baseball season with the Dakota State Trojans at the age of 42.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, it's different. All the catchers I've ever had were always younger than me because I've always been the oldest one up there, but coming to college and having a 42-year-old was, like I said, different, but I mean, I like it.
Different is probably the nicest way to describe a teammate that, in theory, is old enough to be any of the other players' fathers. But the gap between the old and the new was bridged this year out of necessity. You see, for the past 3 seasons, Jay was a volunteer assistant coach at Dakota State. But as the Trojans embarked on their 2016 campaign, they found themselves needing a catcher with opening day just 1 week out.
Well, Eric sends a text in the morning asking how much eligibility I had left. I just set it aside. I didn't even think about it. It never crossed my mind twice. And then that night he sends another text and says, no, we're serious. How much eligibility do you have?
Like anybody, he thought we were joking at first. But it took a phone call saying, no, we are serious. We need a second catcher, and you're our option.
I was like, there's no way this guy's going to be on the team. He's 42 years old. I didn't know that was possible.
It was indeed possible, if not improbable. As a prolific high school athlete, Jay was offered several chances to play college baseball when he was actually college-aged. But because of various circumstances, he never played a varsity game at the University of South Dakota. So his college eligibility never started. But that was just step one. Jay already had a great job as a bank manager, along with degrees in computer science and psychology from USD. Yet in order to play for Dakota State, he actually had to be a student.
I had about 3 days to get somebody enrolled in classes, and Jay was probably our only option. He hasn't taken a college class in 20 years. So mixing that all together with trying to play college baseball, I don't think there's very many people in the country that would be able to do that at 42 years old.
Speech, composition, business stats, and accounting. The first two I thought I'd take them because I thought they'd be pretty easy, do a couple speeches, write a couple papers. That's not the case. They actually require quite a bit more up here, a lot more than I remember. The business stats and the accounting were two things that I thought would help me out with my job, and they have.
In order to balance his schedule, Jay took all of his classes online, saving himself at least one 220-mile round trip from Vermillion to Dakota State's campus in Madison. He also continued working at his bank while using accrued vacation time to participate in as many DSU games as possible. And just like that, Jay Thaler became one of the oldest college baseball players in modern history.
I've been playing baseball since I was 4 years old. My grandpa and I used to play catch all the time. I used to really beat him up out there with some of the balls I'd throw at him, but he was very patient, and it's kind of been a passion ever since then. And a lot of times I've been playing, and what's kept me playing over the years is kind of the memory and the thought of him out there kind of watching still and stuff. So that's always been the driving force behind it, but I've been playing baseball for probably 36, 37 years now.
He's devoting a lot of time. He's giving up a lot of other opportunities to do other things in his personal life to come and play college baseball. So he's not coming up here to just be a joker and publicity stunt, and he's going to want to win.
He may not be a joker, but you better believe he was the source of plenty of jokes throughout the season.
He gets a lot of the ribbing, but he also dishes it right back. So I mean, there's there's a lot of the times when we'll get on him pretty hard, and then as soon as we get on him pretty hard, he just comes right back with just more back talk and stuff like that. I mean, it's just a baseball team. It's just how we work. It's a team bonding aspect.
I'm Snapchat friends with most of them, and they Snapchat me pretty regularly, and you know, they're always teaching me the new lingo, I guess, or the new technology, and some of the things I hear them say, it's pretty funny and pretty catchy. So I try and take that and kind of take it with me too, because there's a lot of stuff out there today. We
had to show him how to use Snapchat, and now he does Snapchat us, and it does get funny. It does get funny because he doesn't exactly take selfies well, but I mean, that's just the thing of the new age, you know.
Jay's selfie game apparently needs some work, but the generational gap hasn't widened the language of baseball, where Jay is plenty fluent and has plenty of influence.
I try and show them some of the things that took me 10 years to learn. So instead of taking 10 years of experience to learn on your own, I can maybe pack it into one summer or maybe 2 summers of teaching them that, so they don't have that big long learning curve. It's more of they can learn it and then master it quicker.
He did bring the life, and to some guys that didn't normally have the life to play the game, and he did get on a couple guys to, like, you know, be into more to the game. Like, don't just sit there and watch. Like, cheer your team on, be there, joke around, have fun.
There's still no word on if Jay will stick around to be a 43-year-old sophomore in 2017. But for at least one unique spring and summer, he's proven Hall of Famer Bob Lemon wrong. Maybe baseball was made for kids, but this grown-up didn't screw anything up.
When I'm gone, whether it be this year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever it is, I want to try and have each kid take something with them that they can take and say, hey, I learned something from Jay in this regard. You know, maybe how he approached the game, how he stayed focused on things, and, you know, kind of a life lesson, I guess. If you can take some life lessons from baseball and incorporate them into your regular life, I think that's going to take you a long ways.
He's always been a baseball player, and I think he'll always be a baseball player, whether he's on the field or not.
And joined by David Brown, and for one thing, very impressed with Jay that his knees are holding up.
Yeah, exactly.
Up and down behind the plate like that at his age. But you talked about in the story, he had to actually enroll and be a student in order to play baseball. And there's a pretty good background story on him going through that, right?
Yeah, he has a job in Vermillion as a bank manager. Didn't ever think he would need his college transcripts ever again. But of course, as you saw, he has to enroll as a student at Dakota State. So he had to get his transcripts from USD back in the 90s. Went to the registrar's office. found out he had several $100s in unpaid parking tickets that he had no idea. Of course, this is the 90s. There's no electronic records of this kind of stuff, so he had no idea, but he got those fines taken care of, was able to get his transcripts over to Dakota State, and was able to play baseball.
Great story. Thanks a lot, David Brown. When we come back, sports have a way of connecting people regardless of politics or poverty or any other social barrier. Up next, we'll see how a South Dakota city and a small town in Central America are bonded together by baseball.
Midco Sports Magazine on Midco Sports Network is presented by Shields and Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Welcome back to Midco Sports Magazine. Paul and Jay Fishback are very talented filmmaking brothers. They're based in Brookings, South Dakota. They did a film called Soul Reconciliation about the South Dakota State University basketball team on a mission trip to Haiti. And much of the Fishbacks' work centers on the themes of sports and service to your fellow human beings. And that theme continues in a short film that they did about a South Dakota organization called Helping Kids Round First.
The organizational goal of Helping Kids Round First is to make kids happy, let them have fun, let them have a level of competition, let them have exercise, and have a life that is more enjoyable.
Jóvenes, por asunto de los vicios, de la droga, ¿verdad? Y lo que es el deporte trae bastante educación en el béisbol.
Flandreau, South Dakota is home and base of Helping Kids Round First. Over here is our warehouse where we store the baseball and softball equipment. With the equipment, we inventory, we clean it up, fix it up, get it ready and pack it before we head to Nicaragua.
We give the baseball equipment to the leaders or to the people that are in charge of the small leagues, and then they give small portions to each team. And then when they play, they can share the equipment together.
Lo que hacíamos era meter una solicitud a la alcaldía para que los aprobara algunos materiales deportivos. Pero a veces se los cumplía, a veces no. O si no, hacíamos algunas deudas, ¿verdad? Para buscar dinero e ir a comprar una manopla. Y la pelota que comprábamos se los rompía, ¿verdad? De la costura, entonces la cosíamos para jugar el próximo domingo. Si no, es porque cuidemos los materiales que ustedes los dejan aquí a nosotros.
Se necesita una alegría porque eso sabemos de que comprar una manopla es caro. Nos gusta el béisbol, pero nos cuesta comprar un bate, una pelota y eso lo motiva a ellos para que jueguen el béisbol.
The fields that the kids and the adults are playing on here in the rural communities in the northwest part of Nicaragua are dirt, and so they're very rocky, and normally they're used for either farmland or it's a community space as well.
They work the whole day, the whole week, and this is the only way they can have fun in this place because life is hard here. And most of the time they are alone in working in their own land, and this makes them feel happy and united. Because you can see all the men here are together playing.
La comunidad de alrededores, no solamente de la comunidad, sino que los que están alrededor de la comunidad se benefician de ese material. Y otros equipos de que también se juntan para jugar y entonces ellos siempre están compartiendo pelotas, que el bate, que guantes, porque algunos equipos no tienen. Por lo menos beneficia a mis comunidades en el futuro en el hecho de que los mismos jóvenes atraen a los otros jóvenes.
Caminando siempre aquí el rodito al barrio nuevo que le decimos nosotros, hay 3 kilómetros que vienen ellos acá al campo de béisbol.
es una alegría de las comunidades cuando nosotros comunicamos de que vienen los hermanos que siempre han donado los equipajes, porque ellos se motivan más y se sienten muy contentos al obtener esos materiales.
Watching things change in the last number of years, we've seen leagues start up and just all kinds of good things for kids. I think we're really happy and proud of what's going on there.
You don't have all the tools to go on the baseball field and practice, and so you don't have to be able to develop any of these skills. So Round First is doing a really good job by providing us with all the equipment that we need so that we can practice every day.
Yo me siento agradecida con los hermanos de Dakota del Sur, que son los que han venido a compartir con nosotros este equipaje, porque son unas comunidades de que no tienen el beneficio de estos equipos.
Nosotros nos sentimos muy fortalecidos en el béisbol, ya que es el deporte más importante para nosotros aquí en Nicaragua.
Our thanks to the Fishbacks and Northern Voyage Productions. Thanks to Jay Thaler and Coach Hortness at Dakota State, and to Sam Haiby in Moorhead, Minnesota. Thanks for watching. You can find all of the archives for Midco Sports Magazine on YouTube.
This has been Midco Sports Magazine, presented by Shields and Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.